Hello and welcome to Geek Talk, where we talk deep and geek about pianos, keyboards, synthesizers, and music production. Today's video is all about this. The SSL SIX. This has just arrived with me, and I'm very, very excited about this. Now, just to save you some time, please understand that this video is not going to be an in-depth review. I've just received it, so it's going to be an unboxing. And I'm also going to explain to you why I bought it, why I'm going to use it, and hopefully you can gain some value from this video and see if you could benefit from one of these yourself. I also need to say that I have not been sponsored by SSL. I'm not endorsing this product. I bought this myself. I paid just under £1,100 for it. And the opinions expressed in this video are my opinions only. But having said that, I think like any producer or engineer, I have great admiration and respect for the SSL company for many, many reasons. But why exactly did I buy this? This baby is £1,100. Well, just depending where you buy it. I bought mine, paid just slightly under £1,100 for it. And the reason I bought mine is for analog summing. Now, you can use this for many different purposes. So let's quickly open it up and let's run through it, and I will give you my initial thoughts on it. So as you can see, it comes really, really well packaged. Of course, you'd expect it to be well packaged for that price. And oh, nice sturdy opening. You take the top off and you're greeted with this nice foam cover, and it has the manual, which has some nice pictures in it. And yeah, I don't think this is a manual. Is this just a, yeah, it's more like just like a product. I think it gives a bit of history about SSL. Anyway, the manual's probably online. But basically this unit here, just looking at it there, let's take it out. Very, very solid, very, very solid. It also has there's the power supply and everything. We won't need that for now, we'll just put it down. But just looking at that initially, I mean, it looks really, really solid. It does remind me of some of the old Mackie, the Mackie products, the way it's built. It's really, really solid, and it just feels like a serious piece of kit. And of course, for the price you're paying, you would expect it to be that. So what is this exactly? I mean, when you look at it, it just looks like a small footprint mixer. But this is so much more than that. And, you know, why would someone spend this much money for a small footprint mixer when you could get something like this? This is a Mackie Pro FX10, which I use for certain projects, for streaming and things like that. This unit is about 200 UK pounds, and this has got a built-in sound card and everything. So what is the difference between this and this? Well, fundamentally, you could technically use this for exactly the same purpose. This could form the center of your studio, and you could plug your instruments into it: basses, guitars, microphones, keyboards, etc. But where this thing really, really shines is the fact that it has the SSL chip. It has that SSL flavor, that SSL sound that only an SSL can offer. And this really is the reason why I bought one of these, is because I'm just busy working on my new album, Dark Society. We've just released Sleeping Dogs, which was the first single. And we've just done a music video for the second single now, which is Bottle. That's all coming out soon. But I just felt that I wanted to up the ante with this record, and I really wanted to incorporate as many good things as what I possibly could. I mean, you guys, if you know me, I'm a big advocate for playing things, down sampling sounds and getting grit and character onto sounds. When I record vocals, I always put them through the ISA1. I use different microphones. I really am inspired by the sort of old school way of working, where it does take longer, but there's a lot of experimentation. And that is mainly the reason why I bought this, is for analog summing. And what I mean by that, if you don't know what that means, it's really at the end of the mix process. This unit will be taken to my partner in crime, Mr. Andy Marlow, who's a great producer, great mix engineer, and we will do the final mix running everything through this. So I'm going to take this to his studio and drop it off with him, and he's he's gonna get full use of it more than I am. So it's going to be a lot of fun just to see how this works, and we will keep you updated with that progress. And the first time I actually saw one of these units was a special shout out to my good friend Espen Kraft, one of the top YouTubers with music technology. Check him out. And Espen Kraft introduced me to this on one of his videos. But it wasn't until I interviewed Ade Fenton recently. Ade Fenton, obviously the producer of Gary Numan's last 5 albums. And I'm a huge Gary Numan fan, as you know. But Ade Fenton went on to say that for this last album, Intruder, their mix engineer, who's called Nathan Body, he actually bought an SSL. So I then had to ask Ade the question, because the previous album they did, which was called Savage, that was mixed in the box. So I had to, of course, ask Ade, so what is the difference sonically between, you know, Savage, which sounded brilliant, as opposed to Intruder, which was mixed through an SSL? And Ade Fenton explained it metaphorically, but the way he explained it perfectly. He said that the SSL gives it this velvety chocolate flavor that only it can give it. And it's completely metaphoric, but it explains it perfectly. I think if something is mixed in the box, and hey, I'm not against that, that's the way top producers work these days, everyone mixes in the box. I think, of course, you can only hear the difference if you do an A-B comparison compared to something that was mixed in the box and then something that was mixed through an SSL or an analog console. And then I believe you can hear the difference. And, you know, anyone in the industry who has mixed through an SSL will tell you there is nothing quite like it. And that is the main reason why I bought this, was because I want to incorporate some of that SSL flavor into my mixes. Now, this is not cheap. As I say, it's £1,100. What's that, about $1,400 US dollars? And even, you know, for that price, it does not include, there's no sound card in here. You are literally just getting something that you can use as a small footprint mixer. But this is the reason you would buy something like this. It's for the circuitry and the chips and the you know, that SSL flavor. That is the reason I've bought it. So a little bit of an indulgence, but I'm sure, to me, the geek, I'm sure I'm going to hear the difference, and we'll do some A-B comparisons at the end. But I really want to dive deeply into this machine. Just looking at it sort of like off the, just off the top here, it has very nice faders. They're 100mm, and this is a serious piece of kit. It feels really, really robust and well built. The first 2 channels, you know, it has mic inputs, but you can also switch them to line inputs. You can plug your bass guitars in here, your guitars, and it also has a sort of a single knob compressor here. You also have, on the first 2 channels here, you also have EQ. It's quite limited though. It's basically just a high shelf and a low shelf, but they do have switchable bell buttons, so you can have, you know, low shelf, high shelf, and bells. So that is more flexibility than I actually needed for. So I know some people have complained and said that, you know, for this price, they would have at least liked, you know, more EQ or some kind of parametric EQ. But I think for what I'm using it for, I've really just bought this just to drive the individual tracks through this, to give it that SSL flavor. And the way Andy and I are going to do it is Andy's going to take the outputs from his Apollo audio, Universal Audio Apollo. And, you know, we're going to have outputs going from there, and we're going to drive it through here and then back into the Apollo. Anyway, Andy's going to have to figure out how to do that. He is a very, very ingenious, technical kind of guy. And I'm looking forward to the way this is going to sound, because, as I said, I'm only using this for analog summing. And once again, it's quite an expensive thing to do just for that. But I believe, from what the reviews I've read and, you know, from the likes of SSL, that this will give a flavor and a texture and a chocolatey, velvety color to your mixes that only this is able to do. So I'm very excited about that. Also, something that I'm very excited about this as well is on this over here, it has a G Series Bus Compressor. And we all know that the SSL Bus Compressor is, you know, the sound of many, many iconic records. And many software companies these days have very, very successfully managed to clone the SSL bus compressors in the form of software. But I I'm a huge, I never, every track I do I'll always, you know, mix through an SSL bus compressor. I love the sound of the SSL bus compressor, but I do love the fact that I now have the sort of hardware option, and we will probably substitute this instead of using the plugin. We will use this, and you know, this does give you a lot of flexibility. You've got obviously the makeup, the threshold, and yeah, lots of other bits and pieces. But as I say, I've literally just got this, unboxed it, love the look of it. It just feels amazing. I've got no doubt that I'm gonna love the sound of this. I really am. But I am going to keep you guys, you know, informed and let you follow the progress of mixing my record. Okay, let's head down to my mate Andy Marlow in Brixton, and I'm going to drop this off with him, and we'll get his initial reactions. So let's jump on the train and head to Brixton. Right guys, here we are in Brixton with my partner in crime, Mr. Andy Marlow.
Morning.
It is morning.
I think just about. Just late morning.
You're
late
up early.
Indeed. So
here it is, my friend. I've just brought the solid state logic. I'll let you do the.
Thank you very much.
The SSL SIX.
Greatly looking forward to this.
I'm sure you are.
So, very nice.
Yeah, that's just like I think like a show-off thing about SSL and everything. And
yeah.
You're a clever guy. You won't need the manual. You can just. But I mean, look at that. As far as, you know, as build quality goes, this is quite.
Yeah.
This is quite solid, isn't it?
It's got a weight to it.
Yeah. So the whole idea here, my friend, is we spoke about, obviously this can be used as a small footprint mixer, but the reason I bought it was because you're going to do some mixing to get that SSL sound.
Yeah. So having looked at the manual a little bit beforehand, but haven't got my head fully around it, there's a way to get, I think it's 12 or 14 inputs.
Oh really? I thought it would just be 6.
No, it's up to 12.
Oh.
There's at least 12. There might be 14.
So okay, and of course, guys, as you know, I've just bought this. Andy's literally just seen it for the first time. So this is not a review. This is just a unboxing. So I just thought it would be that it would mean we could because we're going to use this for some mixing.
Yeah.
So I thought that would give us 6 stems to mix. But you're saying it could be 12 or 14.
Well, not 12. It's 12 channels.
12 channels. Okay.
So you got one. So it'd be 1 and 2. What first bus? Be second, third, fourth, and then on the breakouts and various inputs, you can put other things. And when you click things like the Alt button, that path will just go straight through the SSL, but you can't do anything with it as one of the buses. So you've got control of your
volume,
your volume and EQ and compression here, but with that in as well, you can also get another channel coming down here and going through the SSL architecture to just sum it, but there's no control over it on the desk.
I see.
So there's these that have control over things, and then there's another bunch of things that you can just sum into it, and it will go through the master section.
Oh, I see. And of course, the bus compressor is something we're very excited about using.
Yes, that's going to be great fun to use. I can't wait.
Yeah, so the bus compressor is something that I'm very excited about because, Andy, I know you and I love using the SSL bus compressor plugins. But now, would this be like a hardware version of that plugin, basically?
It's just about, you don't have a release time. It's that's automatic and set. So there's a threshold and makeup gain and a true bypass. So it's got slightly less controls, but they're saying that the choice of attack and release is slightly program dependent, so it can cope with a wide range of sources. And just actually to have a physical knob to turn when you're using a compressor, I really like. It feels, you stop looking at the screen and you start listening with your ears.
Yeah, so although it essentially has a little bit less control than, let's say, the plugin, it'll be the same sound. It'll be the same
it'll be exactly
flavor.
the same sound as the big consoles.
Okay. So this was the question, and once again, I know you don't. As we said, we're not endorsing SSL. We bought, we've paid for this, but would this be the same sound you'd get from the big consoles? It's the same chip.
It should be the same sound because it's the same chips, the same architecture inside, as far as I understand from reading about it, and circuitry. So this is just a tiny version of one of the big, God knows how much they cost. Yeah,
too much money for us.
Yeah. So this should have all the same sounds and width and clarity of the big desks. With the joy of just being able to bring stems in, get things sorted in Logic, but then have extra control, and also again to have be able to move faders on the important things, like maybe the vocal or a lead or guitar or something, that I can actually fly the faders in the old school while retaining all the benefits of having it stem mixed. So yeah, I'm greatly looking forward to that.
So I mean, this is a not a trick question, but obviously you've just got it now. So just sort of off the top of your head, how do you think we're going to wire this up, going from the Universal Audio Apollo?
We'll be coming out of 8 outputs on the Apollo 8, and a further 2 from the Apollo Twin, and that will be going into the main 1 and 2. The 2 stereo channels, and then with breakouts and other inserts we can then sort all those buses into this, and have control over 4 of them, and then the rest just come in straight from Logic.
Well, I mean, I'm excited about this. I'm sure you are too.
Indeed. It's great to have a nice proper bit of kit, and it's just lovely to have a bit of hardware.
So as you can see, that is the smile of a real fanboy. As I say, I've bought this, but I'm probably never going to use it, so I'm just going to leave it here. So
yes, well, I'll look after it.
You're going to get good use of it, and it will be very interesting because obviously you've just the first single, "Sleeping Dogs," from the new album has just been released, and of course Andy's now tweaking "Sleeping Dogs" because the version on the record is going to sound slightly different to fit in line with the record. But what do you just think, and we don't want to speculate, what do you think the sort of sonic differences will be between mixing in the box and incorporating this into
I'm hoping that there'll be a bit more sort of the keeping the stereo width and the actual space. If you put something or you pan something somewhere, it will stay where you wanted it to be. Whereas sometimes it's sometimes in the box it's not as clear cut. So things like that, and being able to use some of the compressors on a couple of the channels. The EQ, I'll have done the surgical stuff on that, but just for lifting things and it's for feel, really. It's just twisting things as you're mixing.
Hands
and
on.
Just
Yeah.
that needs to be louder.
Giving it something.
You know, and just ride the things and actually make it a bit more live. So you'll have to, obviously I'll be recording back into Logic.
Yeah.
And it's in real time. So it'll be slightly back to the days of doing several passes of a mix.
Okay. I apologise.
No. I mean, it's fun because on some that you'll have just got that perfect chorus where you've just lifted things just right. But then the beauty of having it back in the box is that you can grab those best bits, and rather than having to cut a tape up and go, first half of that song was mixed wickedly, the second half was...
So this is like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, this gives a good combination of being able to mix hands-on a bit, and then being able to get the best bits of that edited again easily, rather than chopping up tape as we used to.
I think that is the way forward these days. You get all these purists, and you and I are not purists, but I think the winning combination is somewhere between both, using the best of analog and the best of digital. You've got the digital control for that precision, but using the analog for the sound and the warmth and that. And
fair enough, it's getting converted to analog. It's going into this. It's then getting reconverted, but I like a bit of hiss and noise on a guitar part anyway, because it's what happens. It's real, and the benefits of going through something like this to add that space and width and maybe clarity and things definitely to me seem to, and hopefully this will show, will outweigh the extra level of conversion.
Yeah. One of the sort of we don't want to go too much into the review. We might review it later, but one of the sort of comments on this thing was some people were disappointed at the fact that there's only a high pass and a low pass, so it's a high filter and a low filter, but with interswitchable bell. Yeah. But I think for what we're using it for, it's absolutely fine.
I mean, this is just to sweeten it up, or take a bit out, or add a bit more oomph at the bottom,
or honk,
or or to cut something. But again, being able to just actually turn more than one channel at once in real time and actually do the mix live and just go, oh, that needs to be thinner, or I want fatness. Yeah. These aren't surgical, these are...
But they are very musical.
It should just sound nice turning it up.
Yeah.
And I mean, I haven't heard them yet, but I'm hoping that it's like when you work with other analog gear, that when you actually turn something... something happens. So some digital gear, you can turn an EQ up 12 dB and you don't really notice a huge amount, whereas lots of analog gear, it used to be you turn it up 1 dB or 2 and you go, that's nice. And
it's pleasing.
Yeah, and it just sounds good. Yeah. If the crossovers and where they've been picked for the bell are nice and musical, it just... why make it more complicated?
We're not going to question the guys at SSL.
No,
hey man, we're not worthy. So, but listen, Andy, there we go, man. Enjoy it. I'm probably never going to get it. I'll have to beg for it back. But Andy's going to be jumping onto the next single is Bottle. We've just filmed the music video for that. That's coming out at the end of this month. So, Andy, enjoy. Oh, he's even made space for it on the desk.
I cleared the space this morning.
Cheeky bastard.
And I have all the leads.
Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little video. Leave your comments below. What do you think of the SSL SIX? Is it something that you'd be interested in looking at, or have you used it? Anything you'd like to say, leave your comments below. And Andy and I will see you on a video soon. Adios.
Cheers.